Hi, I'm Sobhita Dhulipala. You're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon.
We have with us Sobhita Dhulipala, and she is the rock star and superstar of the digital platform right now because what she has done in Made in Heaven is something which is nothing short of incredible. A pleasure having you on Bollywood Hungama.
Thank you so much.
All right, and how are you handling this amazing sort of response that you've been getting for Made in Heaven?
It feels really nice. You feel good because I've consistently made choices that are content driven. Which the rewards that come in return you don't always get as many rewards when you're doing content driven cinema projects because they might work, they might not work. And they're usually made. So I mean, to see that here is a project that I've done purely because I loved the story, I loved the team, I loved the people attached with it, and to see it get appreciated so much, it's very motivating. It makes me feel like it reinforces the thought that you can continue to do films or projects that mean something to you, and at some point they will give back.
Personally, I love any sort of work which has layers to it. There is subtext. For me, I think any work of art is it's a subtext that is more important than what the main theme
Yeah.
whatsoever is. And your character has so many shades. It is vulnerable. It can be scheming. It can be complicated. It can be a very nice person as well who can help other people as well. It's a beautiful mix. What was your reaction when you heard the character in the first place?
To find a protagonist who is so flawed is actually very liberating, because most, like, more often in films or in media, they project men and women as this ideal, like superhumans. They're perfect with no flaws, and it makes a normal person feel inadequate. you know they look great, they can dance, they can fight, they can sing, they're sweet, like, to see a character that is imperfect, it's liberating. It feels like maybe I'm enough. Sure, I'm flawed, I have my shortcomings, I've been good at times, but maybe that's okay. Maybe I'm not a fail. So it was very, very, very nice for me that.
Look, the best part is it's very human. It's I
True.
think that's how people are. That they have their positive aspects, they have their shortcomings. They can be devious at times. They can
Yeah.
they can be cheating at times.
I mean, I
And
have felt jealousy. I have felt fear. We all feel desire. We all feel disappointment. It's so normal to experience all these emotions. So, to have the whole spectrum is more natural and more real. So, I really enjoyed it.
I'm sure that you did. It's very apparent that you're enjoying it, and this entire I think paraphernalia of emotions that you're portraying. I think we need a lot of time, honestly, because I loved it.
Thank you.
The entire series and the way your character has been
The script
portrayed.
allowed for it
Ji.
also. It's the writing, because it had the bandwidth to accommodate a character that can be silent in some moments. In films, everything is like chuck 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 chuck, like plot mein kya ho raha hai? This happened, that happened. Okay, now I'm talking cameras here. Next, you're talking cameras. This, because of that's the advantage in a web series I've noticed, is that there is so much time that it allows for silences which may speak the most. So it's also wonderful writing, great concept.
You said somewhere that you're a writer's actor. How do you say that?
Because my loyalties are live with words, somehow. Like when I see that, like in this project, for example, there are 4 directors. There's Zoya and Rima wrote it, Alankrita as well, and it was directed.
Nitya Mehra.
Yeah, and Nitya Mehra, she's also the showrunner. So these 4 directors, sure, the project in the writer's room, I'm sure they've had lots of discussions, creative, collaborative conversations, but there was a slight difference in the way each of them saw the same character. A Zoya's Tara would be different, not entirely, but there was a certain change in the mix compared to a Prashant's Tara. So how do I find a middle ground? So for me, the script is my Bible. And from that point on, then it's like Jogalbandi with each director, while keeping in mind what the basic standard is according to the script. Then those little changes, because maybe that is Tara, because everyone sees something for a reason, and it's so fun to actually be able to react to stimulus. So, which is why the script is the most grounding and important document, because that's the boss.
एक तो क्या होता है कि जैसे कि डॉट्स मिलाना जिसको कहते हैं, सो द वे द कैरेक्टर अनफोल्ड्स एंड नॉन लीनियर फॉर्मेट एंड द फैक्ट कि दैट वो खुद एक हम्बल बैकग्राउंड से आई है, पुअर बैकग्राउंड से आई है, एंड हर मदर इज क्वाइट स्कीमिंग इन अ वे, एंड द फैक्ट दैट शी हैज चीटेड टू गेट मैरिड, एंड
Yeah.
so maybe she understands her own self in a very fine manner. That scene when Arjun's character comes out of the jail and he says, "Okay, I'm filthy," and but she still says that I
Yeah.
don't care, and she
Yeah.
hugs her. I think it's such a beautiful scene, and there's element of empathy, but it's stemming from her entire journey as a
Yeah.
person as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Filth has
That
so many meanings
so
in
many
her
meanings
life.
over there, yeah.
Yeah.
So many meanings over there.
It's not sweat and grime alone.
It's not sweat and grind.
Filth is her reality also, in a way.
It is.
Filth is also a smile that is not meant. So she's dealing with filth in different ways. So yeah. So
As a person, has this character brought some changes in you? Has it maybe made you more adept at handling yourself, or made you more aware about yourself in a way as a person?
usually, I read actually about how some actors who are very good at what they do, they take a lot of preparation time, and they do things like the character, maybe physical mannerisms, or put themselves through a certain emotional groove. I somehow, after I start shooting and after I start playing the character, I become more and more like them, as opposed to the other way around. I'm really present and I'm very instinctive as a person with every aspect of my life. It has led me to good, bad, all kinds. But I am here because I am honest with myself. So when I play a character like Tara, who is so prone to herself, if that's a thing, it definitely gives you a sense of strength. The characters. Also, when you play a character for 8 months, you're living in that person's shoes for so long, and I'm very particular about detail. And detail that does not have to be celebratory. Like, I played Tara as a left-handed person. Nobody knows it. Nobody particularly noticed it. I actually learned how to write with my left hand. I practiced I made like a signature, and I practiced with the left hand. And there's a couple of places where I'm signing a document, like in the hospital. It thrills me, And my greatest motivation to be an actor comes from curiosity. I want to know what you would like. I want to know what is the smell that reminds you of home, and I want to replicate that feeling. I want to live many lives in one. So I'm very present, and when I get a character that's so rich with living, then that's the dream.
As you were telling me that you like to read a lot, and that's something that really motivates you in a big way. So now you're having this wonderful vocabulary, and so vocabulary से क्या होता है कि that's it.
Vocabulary, someone asked me, what is your idea of heaven? I said, wherever Shashi Tharoor's vocabulary came from.
Words are not mere words, because they have connotations to it.
Yeah.
They, as you said, that it just enhances your imagination. It creates a visual world in your own way within yourself, and you look inwards. वो कितना ज़रूरी है आपके लिए, और आपके लिए रीडिंग से आपको कितना एक प्रोत्साहन मिलता है, या फिर एक मोटिवेशन मिलता है to just do better?
I was always very introverted. Books were my escape as a child. And then slowly I realized that by reading something, I know a little more than my classmate. And I realized that, so this is the way I can have some kind of relevance in my classroom. So I used to start reading. I used to spend all my time in the library. I was not very outdoorsy or like friendly, chatty, playing. And I was a very quiet kid. So I think the seeds of my passion for reading, it happened when I was in school. So I think I started reading out of isolation. And then I started reading because I wanted to be better. I wanted to have some contribution. When you're not that funny or cool kid, you want something on your account so that you can still be part of the cool group. So I became that nerdy school captain girl who's well read. And then slowly also I read so many different types of books that eventually I've come to a point where it allowed me to understand my own opinions. So many times when we keep talking, bolte bolte, हमें realize होता अच्छा, this is what I think about it. But by reading, I'm able to think. I'm able to have an opinion, and I'm not needy of somebody's approval of it. And also, it helps me with being less judgmental.
Wow. So what sort of books do you like to read? Do you have any authors?
No,
Fiction, non-fiction, what exactly?
I've had my phases of everything. I recently finished this book called Exit West. It's about immigrants, and it's a little fantasy driven. So cool. I'm currently reading this book called Wandering Falcon. So I did this show with Netflix, which deals with the Baloch conflict. So the book is also about that. So I'm quite fascinated. I really like mythology and poetry. Bukowski. I mean, his stuff is obscene, but it's so funny. So yeah, I like it all.
There's so many things that we can discuss about your character, but say one thing that maybe we can talk about is Jazz is like a small town girl in a way, slightly underconfident, can be geeky. But you, from your own experience, that you've had a tough time getting into the big world of corporate that jazz that is there in corporate world. So the way, in a very natural way, you promote her without offending your colleague, that if she is being nasty to her, but you promote her in a very, very natural manner, that yeah, I think this idea is good, let's do this. So I think that's done very naturally. There's no pretension in that. It doesn't seem like acting at all. It's done very, very naturally. Is that something that you were told by your director, writer, or is it something that you developed yourself?
Actually,
because that there's an element of empathy over there from our own experience.
I'm very touched that you noticed it, because there was no specific conversation about it, but it's something I instinctively felt like, when someone goes through a long, hard journey and they're in a place of power, they know what it took to get there. So they do respect it. So they are a lot more sensitive towards people's naivety and ideas, because sometimes ideas come not out of intelligence, maybe out of sensitivity and innocence. So maybe she recognizes it because she came from that place. So that's something I personally had thought when I was reading the script. And actually, when I read the script, my favorite character was Jazz, because when favorite as in like Jazz and Kabir, they are actually no, yeah, I can't say it now. After having done the show, I can't reduce any other character to any less, because this show reflects the dilemmas of our time. So
Sure. One very interesting part is that there are different episodes and you have different marriages, and so there are hypocrisies of the society that are unfolding before everyone, which is very interesting as well. I think those stories, they are very interesting.
it's fun.
Yeah. And you guys turn like activists and like
Last episode we are like
detectives.
Nancy Drew.
Yeah, like detectives. So it's like a wonderful mix. And that Pulkit Samrat thing is, I think,
Yeah,
hilarious. So
yeah.
how to manage it. One very interesting aspect is that as professionals, both you and Arjun, is like you're very focused. You may be having dysfunctional personal lives, but when it comes to your work, you're very focused. You don't lose focus even once. Even वो जो महाराजा थे, वो किसी लड़की के साथ में जो उनका molestation होता है, तो expose करते हैं, but make sure करते हैं कि उनसे पैसा वैसा आ जाए.
हाँ.
So like that focus is very interesting. They have
दिल्ली
dysfunctional
है
lives.
भाई.
हाँ जी.
It's like दिल्ली है भाई. पैसे तो निकालो.
जी. जी.
No,
So,
but
which is very interesting.
yeah, there's too much at stake for both of them to be swayed by somebody else. But it does change, like the way it starts, they're much more of like, they always are go-getters, but in the beginning, I think the moral discipline suffers a little, because they need to make money. Like, he has his loan to clear. She has to prove to her in-laws and her husband that I can do it, So I think in that bargain, the beginning, they hustle their way through. But because of what's happening in their respective lives over the course of all the episodes, we see that they're also getting affected emotionally. which is why towards the end they take a huge risk with the bride, the whole running away and all of that. I think that does change a little bit, you know. It's like a slow graph, but I think they start off as ambitious go-getters who are not interested in human dynamics unless it pays.
Even the relationship that has been, I think, written between you and Arjun, I think it's a very unique mixture.
Yeah.
So we have the fair share of sex and cheating and
Fair share.
fair share. But when it comes to you guys, so he's homosexual, and
Yeah.
that relationship, the way it has been handled, is that you guys are there for each other.
Yeah.
In the worst of times, it's not merely like a professional relationship. So you don't back out when he gets into a fix, and maybe not like a very pleasant fix in the first
Yeah.
place. And he does the same with you as well.
Yeah.
So which is, I think, the way it has been written is wonderful as well.
Yeah.
The climax, the last scene is beautiful.
Yeah.
Those that jewelry and I think it's beautifully done.
I think they're both so alone, and they are together in their aloneness.
वाह,
So
आप पोएट्री सुनाई दीजिए. सोभिता जी, आप लिखती हैं 100% पोएम्स. आप एक पोएम सुनाई दीजिए. मुझे पता नहीं है कि that लिखती हैं, but I'm sure that you do.
no, please.
But you write poetry.
I mean, I write poetry in English, but it's
I'm sure.
it's quite dark. So
No, it's okay. So there's no harm. Like,
No.
All right. Now you're doing this film with Rishi Kapoor and Emraan Hashmi, and you're doing a web series with Emraan Hashmi as well.
Yeah.
For Red Chillies. So tell us about the forthcoming projects that you're having.
So the film I shot for last year in June. It's called The Body. I'm not sure if that's going to be the final title. It may be the tentative one. It's produced by Viacom and Azure, Sunil Khetrapal. So there's a Spanish thriller called The Body, which they've officially remade. It's so pacey and so taut and so nice. I was very excited to be a part of it because it's very interesting. It's a story of one night. And of course, I feel fortunate to be working with people who are so experienced and who've been around for a long time. So there's always something you can learn from people, you know. So that was a very interesting character for me to play. It's Namak.
Okay, why do you say that?
No, she's a bit crazy. Like it's eccentric in its own way. So it's very enjoyable for me to play it.
Okay, and the web series with Chillies.
Yes, it's called Bard of Blood. It's developed by Red Chilli, produced by Red Chillies for Netflix, and I think it's going to come out in August or September this year. That's also very different from everything I've done. It's got like action, and it's like it follows the journey of raw agents. It's got Emraan Hashmi, me, and Vineet Kumar Singh leading.
Mukkabaz.
Yes, leading the pack, and it's a 7-day mission. It's shot so well. Ripu Dasgupta has directed it, and I've just finished it actually a few weeks ago. We shot in Ladakh and Rajasthan, and we recreated parts of Afghan, the terrain. I'm in a burqa, and it's like burqa and machine gun and grime and running around and action. And I realized that I never thought I would like it, but I really enjoyed doing action, and I was decent.
I'm sure you must be.
I was so much fun. I'm just like, ये पहले क्यों नहीं किया? Like it is very great fun.
You're doing Mouton, which I think that's how it's pronounced?
I think, yeah, I also don't know perfectly, but Mouton.
It's a movie.
Yes, it's a movie. It's by Geetu Mohandas. This is her second film. Her first film being Liar's Dice, which was India's entry to Oscars a couple of years ago. This is a film that has left a huge impact on me because it's an adventure fantasy. It follows the journey of a child searching for his elder brother in lost on an island, comes to a city. There's mermaids, there's drug peddling, there's prostitutes, there's children being smuggled. It covers so many facets, and it's so poetic in its narrative. I really feel so strongly about this film. It left a huge impact on me, and I think in life we have those landmark moments where emotionally At least I do. I have those points where I know that this was like a shot of growing up.
Ji.
So that was an espresso shot for my heart.
And apparently, you were offered Sacred Games and you couldn't do it.
It sounds so nice, but that's not true.
You weren't offered. You weren't offered.
No, so the thing is, when I was shooting for Made in Heaven, Anurag sir wanted me to do a part in Sacred Games, but I was shooting for this show, and he had spoken to Zoya, and the dates were not matching, so I could not do it.
So which part was offered to you?
The actress,
Okay.
Zoya, the character.
Okay, and apparently you'd love to do like a historical movie as well.
Yeah, because like I said, I love reading. I'm obsessed with mythology and history, and I'm a classical dancer.
I know that.
So-
That was my next question. Kuchipudi
And Bharatnatyam. I've
Bharatnatyam.
started learning Kathak also. Too much enthusiasm in life. So I think it'll be nice to put that to.
dark poetry and Kuchipudi.
Arey, that sounds like my biography.
Anything else that you're reading right now in terms of any script?
I've had a couple of meetings, but I don't want to jinx it by talking about it. I think I'll know in a couple of weeks. But it's been very good. The reception has really allowed me such an open window. Like when I walk into some place, I don't feel as random or lost, which is great as a promotion.
All right, rapid fire with Sobhita. 3 things that you'd look for in your future husband.
Curiosity, kindness, can cook.
What would you prefer, live-in or marriage?
Married.
Most irritating thing about Indian weddings?
The need to spend so much money just to show off. Yeah, come on. Yeah, it's like, अरे बेटी की शादी है, अब नहीं दिखाएंगे तो तब दिखाएंगे.
All right. What's the weirdest or craziest compliment you received for Made in Heaven?
I don't even know if it's a compliment. So many people have been inboxing saying I'm not like Adil. I can give you a baby. That's not a compliment. That's so creepy.
All right. What's your zodiac sign?
Gemini. But the Indian thing is different now. Indian, I think they follow the lunar cycle. So according to that, I'm Taurus. The normal zodiac, I'm Gemini.
So what is your birthday?
31st May.
31st May. So you are like a Gemini. Gemini.
Huh.
Yes or no? Have you ever had a one-night stand?
No.
Have you ever kissed a girl?
No. I want to. I think it's an experience I want to try at some point in my life when it comes naturally.
Have you ever had a crush on your teacher?
Or teacher, not my teacher.
It's okay. Have you ever had a crush on any teacher?
Or teacher, yeah.
Have you ever been proposed by a girl? No. Quick replies in one word, please. First letter of your most used Hindi gali.
I don't give galis in Hindi. Very respectful.
English.
I'm a little old school. I said bloody hell. Yeah. Or like, yeah.
Okay.
Little like I'm like your grandmother. That's how I scold people.
All right. Describe your journey in a hashtag.
Woke.
Woke. Hashtag woke. WOKE. All right. Your childhood crush.
Too many. Dhoni I had a big crush on.
MS
I had so he had come to Visakhapatnam, my hometown, to play some match, and he scored 148 runs, and it was like big news, and he was like this new star on the horizon, and I was just like, this is the guy for me. And I had cutouts of all his pictures from the newspapers and stuck it in a book and sketch pen se outline bhi banaya uska maine.
Contemporary actress you admire.
Everyone. Actually, actors, actresses, itna I'm not like Rekha ji, I admire her. Not
She's not a contemporary person.
But
But she
she's-
should be contemporary for everyone always.
she's so relevant because of her spirit.
Hot or not, flirting.
Nah,
Not? Okay. Drinking.
I don't drink, so I don't relate. Not.
Adult comedies.
Not.
Item songs.
Not. Actually, flirting, yes. Sorry.
Flirting is hot.
Little bit.
Okay. Politics.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
Thank
Wonderful
you
to have
so
you
much.
in our office, and
It was
there's so much that
lovely.
we can talk about your character Tara in Made in Heaven, but there's paucity of time. So, but congratulations! I think you've done a
Thank you.
wonderful job.
Thank
One
you
thing
so
that
much.
comes out after watching the show is for you and for other characters, but especially you. I think there's this element of respect. Which I think you've earned out of this series, which is amazing.
Thank you so
Trust me,
much.
there are so many things out in the market, and they don't radiate that sort of
I'm so lucky.
vibe.
Thank you so much.
So, and we hope that you continue on this wonderful journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's all we have from Bollywood and Hungama. Keep on watching.
Hi, I'm Sobhita Dhulipala. You're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe and hit the bell icon.